to start my Spirit-Centered Business show anew and afresh for a couple months now, and I just believe that God told me, or I heard that I was supposed to start on January 1. So here I am, January 1, 2020. Now, just a little bit about the history of Spirit-Centered Business if you haven't seen the Kingdom Talks episodes where I've talked about it. So I started Spirit-Centered Business in 2014, and I was exploring areas that the New Age movement had a hold of. And I was, looking at the time, I didn't have this language, but Nancy Cohen calls it the righteous real. But I was looking at how God really created the universe and really taking back the principles that he put in place that the New Age movement kind of just took, because the church had abdicated understanding the principles. So when I was teaching Spirit-Centered Business back then, I not only covered the principles of my coaching business, which are all laid out in my first book, Planning to Profit, but I also explored those areas of frequency and vibration and different spiritual principles, such as the law of attraction, what that really means, the law of promotion, the law of honoring, different things that the Lord set in place and has in the Bible, but we don't talk about them in church. And I have to apologize. When God says go, I just have to go. My tech isn't right. Okay, this is just gonna be really raw and real. I'm not even gonna stop the video and edit, okay? I know that the lighting is kind of weird. I've got these hot spots on my face, but so goes. Here's when I turn it off though. It doesn't look great either, so we're just gonna leave it on. Ooh, that's a bit bright. All right, turn it down. Okay. Anyway, so this is going to be real and raw. This is my first episode. Typically, I'm going to have guests on. So let me go back to what Spirit-Centered Business is and give you the overview. So in 2014, all I was talking about was the three-way alignment, which was head and your heart, because so often we operate in our knowledge and we don't access our passion. We go from head knowledge and we try to drive things just based on what we know, rather than listening to our intuition and listening to empathizing with others. And of course, in the New Age movement, or the spiritual people call it empathic, doing business, heart-centered, empathic. And there's nothing wrong with that language. I'm stealing it back. I'm not stealing it because it was ours to begin with, right? But anyway, I'm using that language because I want to make curiosity and becoming a student of the spirit realm normal. I want to normalize it, because that's what it was like when Jesus was around, and for thousands of years before that. People were in tune with the spirit realm, and I think we've lost that. Well, I know we've lost that since the Industrial Revolution, and I want to just normalize the idea of stepping into the spirit realm and accessing the spirit realm and understanding how our vibrational frequencies of our emotions, how that impacts what we see in our 3D physical world. Our bodies are the interface between this 3D world and the spirit world, which is actually more real. And so because we're so caught up in our 3D bodies and what the 3D world and the culture needs, we don't see what's going on with the spirit world. And so anyway, I started Spirit-Centered Business because I thought that there had to be a better way to do business. Yes, we have to know the principles of doing business, how to negotiate well, how to structure your business, how to create something from nothing, essentially. You're creating value out of the world, and then you package it in a way that the marketplace will buy it. And money is just an energetic transaction for like a representation for the services that you provide. Because if we had to barter for everything, it would just be chaotic. Because listen, please don't give me goats or a cow when I coach you, right? Because I might not need goats and a cow. I might need gas in my car and food on the table. And so therefore money is the exchange of that, rather than just a straight barter. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with money. It is the it is a representation of the value that you bring to the marketplace. And oftentimes, my clients are usually coaches and consultants and speakers, and oftentimes they devalue what they bring to the marketplace and what they bring to the table. Because we're naturally gifted in what we do, we kind of say, well, it's so easy for me, therefore it's not valuable. Well, we attack that mindset too. So anyway, we looked at a lot of these things in Spirit-Centered Business 1.0, and now we're coming into 2.0, or actually probably 3.0, because Gil Hodges was partnering with me, and we did a little bit last year in 2019 with putting out some really good material with a couple webinars and online workshops that we did. So this is actually the 3.0. And hopefully Gil will be joining me every once in a while. We would love to have that. But my vision for Spirit-Centered Business for this show is to have guests on who bring parts and pieces and their expertise to you, to the audience. And so from the version 1.0 version in 2014, when it was just the 3 parts of alignment, head and heart, aligning with God, and aligning with the universe and others. So that includes those spiritual principles, like how he really created the universe and how to work with it instead of against it. Because some of the ideas that we have as believers in the marketplace are actually not the way that God created the universe. So we look at those kinds of things. So those were the 3 parts of Spirit-Centered Business back then. So now with the 2.0 and even now the 3.0, we've gone so much further, because now through our exploration and understanding of how the spirit realm works, and we're all still on the journey, none of us knows exactly everything and how it all works, but we do know a lot more than we did then. I certainly do. And so I want to share that with you. And with that piece comes access. So now we no longer have, or we have, in addition to alignment, 3-way alignment, head, heart, internal alignment, alignment with God and his plan and his for you and the destiny that he already set out in front of you, and the horizontal alignment. So internal, vertical, and horizontal alignment is only the first piece now. Second piece is access. Actually, stepping into the heavenly realm, stepping into the spirit realm, and looking for, finding, implementing, taking action on the access that you have there for wisdom, for resources, for strategy, which that's my big thing, is all about the strategy. What does God say, or how does God say to do this thing? Because sometimes it's not the way we think it is. And oftentimes it's not even the same way he told you the last time. So what is the strategy that we pull down? And we really, in my membership, in the activation membership, we literally do this together. And it's less about training in that particular membership. I do have another membership that is about training, but the activation membership is literally, we go into our boardroom in the heavenly realms. And I have a 3-part series, an on-ramp, if you will, so that you could join us in there. And that's all coming online, and all of the tech is getting in place. But, when God says go, we go. So hopefully by the time you've heard this, especially if you've heard it some other time later than January 1st of 2020, all of these pieces will be in place and you'll be able to access them. So, and the third part of Spirit-Centered Business 2.0 is impact. And this was kind of built in to the first time I did Spirit-Centered Business, because the impact is all about how are you really impacting lives with your business. And a lot of that is in my first book, and my second book is called Your Business Has a Destiny, and it is in process. And we're going to be exploring what the business destiny is and how to activate it through prayers and declarations and those kinds of things. So that's what the second book is about. But back to impact and the impact that your business has. So often we have an idea for a business, but we get in the way. We overthink things. And I don't want to, I would be so rich if I had $1 for every time someone said, oh, who's going to listen to me? Who wants what I have? Don't I need a certification for that? Don't I need a license? And especially coaches. And actually, I was working with Ruthie Andrews. Absolutely brilliant. Look up the Kingdom Talks Ruthie Andrews episodes. She's incredible. Brilliant counselor. So what we worked with her was to take off the counselor hat, not the brilliance and experience and everything that she brings to the table, just the hat, just the label, and call herself a coach. Because now there's no certifications required. There's no licensing that you need to have. She was licensed in multiple states. That all goes, she can just open it up globally now, because you can be a coach just by taking what God has given you, your identity, what you already have. I like to say, there's a line in the Bible. I think it was when Moses was he was either going to draw out water or part the Red Sea, something having to do with water, and he had a stick in his hand, and God is like, Moses, what's that in your hand? So I say that a lot to my clients. Like, they're like, oh, don't I need to do XYZ before I can influence or inspire people? And I say, what's in your hand? What do you have? And so many people already have so much wisdom and expertise, and they've been through some stuff in their life. They've had messes like we all have. What is the message that can come out of your mess that you can inspire others with? And my life purpose is, my message is, you can inspire others while you're still under construction. You just have to be a step ahead of someone else. And the imagery that I like to put to that is, if you are walking through a dark forest with a flashlight and you stumble across somebody who doesn't have a flashlight, are you not going to say, well, I really don't know where I'm going either, but come with me because you have the flashlight? You're not going to tell them, oh, you wait here, I'll go figure it out and come back for you. Leave them in the dark forest all alone. We're not going to do that. We're going to bring them along with us because we have the flashlight. Well, God said he gave us a lamp to our feet, and sometimes it only lights that next step. But you know what? If our next step is lit, we can bring someone with us. And that's what my message to you would be, because you can create an entire business, which typically I help my clients do, around the message that's on your heart. And we together, we figure out how to monetize that. What does that look like? And really to package it up. But the bigger picture is, what are you being you in your business? What is your true identity in your business. I used to do a talk that I said, "Are you showing up for work?" or "Show up for work," or something like that. But essentially, you need to put you into your business, and very rarely, occasionally, I'll work with people who are in an MLM or selling some sort of a product, and it's typically not what they think. I turn it on its head, because I don't want you to be let's just say what comes to my Avon. Okay, Avon comes to mind. I don't know why. I haven't even seen Avon in years. Whatever, it came to my mind. This is raw and real, guys. Okay, so if you come to the table and you say, "I'm an Avon rep," anything that anyone knows about Avon, that box is checked. And that's you now, if you're in a networking group. Anything that they ever knew about Avon, then they saw you. As soon as you said that, that box is checked. Okay? I need next person. I don't need anything of Avon. Next. And that's not what we're created to do in business. We're created to be us, to bring our experiences, our gifts, our talents, our bent, the way our brain is wired, to the table, to the marketplace. And so anyone who is selling just a product, I want to reverse engineer that and say, you know what? Who are you? And how could you just use that product as a tool? If I don't really even know how to go down the Avon. Okay, so Avon, let's just say beauty products, whatever. They probably have more now. I don't know, whatever. So 20 years ago, when I last heard about Avon, is it even still a thing? I don't know. Anyway, so beauty products. So what are you in the industry of beauty products? Are you a coach to help people, or women, let's just say women, to have more confidence, to present themselves better to the world with more confidence? Are you a coach who can work on, I don't even know. Let's let's say something in the health industry. So are you a health coach? Are you talking about diet? Are you talking about exercise? Are you talking about, the cleanliness of how you eat, and organics, and the water that you drink, and how it needs to be filtered, and, whatever. What do you have in you, the message that's burning on your heart that you can bring to the table? Because it's not about the product. Listen, selling a product is not going to make you money. And I mean, unless you're a crazy good salesperson and you can just sell ice to an Eskimo, whatever. But the majority of people are not that. The majority of people are just hardworking people who want to make the world a better place. And so they pick up a product and think they want to sell that. But you know what? In business, there are times when it gets really hard, and you're not going to break through an obstacle, or jump over an obstacle, or go around, or, whatever, if you don't have a good why. And a product what someone else's vision is not a good why for you. You need to have your own why. And making money just because you saw this product and you saw that the MLM scheme looked good to you, making money is not a good enough why. It's not going to help you break down those barriers and get through the obstacles and get you out of bed in the morning to slog it out another day. And to tell you the truth, if you think that work is slogging it out, then you're not in the right business to begin with. I love what I do. I absolutely am fascinated by the brilliant coaches and speakers and people that I get to work with. And I love just seeing the lights come on when I say, whoa, we could monetize this. And they're like, what? I never thought of that. And I'm like, oh yeah, you can bring so much transformation to the world. We can do yada, yada, yada. And I hope to have someone on to actually do that live for you guys in one of these episodes. That would be so cool. Let me write that down. All right. So that's really what I want to help my clients do, and I want to help you too. And so this show, Spirit Centered Business, and if you're listening by podcast, it's spiritcenteredbusiness.com, is a platform that I am going to be bringing on experts in various areas. Now, sometimes it's about the spiritual part of it and the alignment with your identity, or the alignment with God, or access into the spirit realm. Sometimes it's the spirit side of it, and sometimes it'll be the business side of it. And so we're going to be talking to people who are experts in things that I am not an expert in. And I am not even, to tell you the truth, here's my honest truth. I'm not even an expert in business. What I am an expert in is drawing you out of you and putting it into a business model, because I know that it works. When I designed my signature process, Planning to Profit, there were a lot of trial and errors that went into that. But I can tell you, when I finally got it perfected, the first client that I worked with, the first workshop that we did, we made $10,000 in a day. And when I designed the Planning to Profit program, where I walked people through the steps of it in 8 weeks, they were making money. The ones who implemented were making money by the end of the 8 weeks. So I know that the process works, and I know that I have been able to help my clients just rethink and restructure how they look at themselves, and how they can start selling their mind instead of selling their body. And I know that that sounds funny, but seriously, you don't have to trade dollars for our hours for dollars. Your time is so much more valuable than that, and people will pay you for your brilliance, for you helping them to see their brilliance. And so that's the cry of my heart, and the reason that I'm in business is to help brilliant coaches and speakers and people who are influencers to really get their message dialed in and packaged in such a way that they can transform lives. So if I can transform thousands through them, I get to transcend and transform millions. And I want that for you too. I want that for every single one of my clients. I want them to be able to transform the lives that they have stepped into business and they said, okay, I'm going to take this on. I'm going to create a legacy for myself. I'm going to create a name for myself in the industry. I'm going to go out there and, do what God has told me to do with the tools that He put inside me. And it's not about going to school and getting another degree. I actually have a degree in architecture, in interior architecture, and I worked for some of the largest companies in the U.S. I managed, multi-million-dollar construction projects, and so, some on my just the pure planning to profit side, on that part of it, I'm the message architect, because we literally build your message. We design it, build it, and activate it, which are the 3 steps of construction, and it's I can tell you, it's the activation that's the key. The activation is the key. Transformation comes from activation. Let me tell you, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. If you never actually put boots to the ground and activate it, you are not going to see the results that you can see in the world. And I want that for my clients, and I want that for you. I want that for anyone who hears this. Is I want you to see the transformation that you can see in the world. And sometimes we just have to get over ourselves. We have to get over our fear of being successful. We have to get over our fear of money, our money mindset, a poverty mindset. We have to get over it. And let me tell you, in the church, it runs rampant. It's been taken over. And that's why some people say I have a ministry, and I say, oh gosh, don't put that on me, because ministry has a bad connotation to me. It has I'm a starving person, begging for donations or something like that. And it's different. It's different now. We're stepping into the next age where we don't have to go by that model anymore. And we don't have to be pigeonholed into just a ministry. I would say that every single pastor out there is a coach. And I would say that every single pastor doesn't have to rely just on donations on Sunday mornings. You can package your brilliance. You can create workshops and studies and events and online courses where they're infinitely scalable. This is another thing I talk about with my clients, is being scalable and using the leverage of online and serving one to many instead of one on one on one. And, pastors, I think, know that, because they're always trying to build a bigger congregation so that when they speak, they can touch more people, right? But there's so many people that are called to make a transformation, but they're not necessarily called to be pastors. They're not called to plant a church. They're not called to do that. And I also have a lot of friends in business, and I hope some of you are listening, that aren't necessarily a Christian believers, or they're not actively Christian. Maybe they would call themselves Christian, and they're not really stepping in and going deep and having intimacy with God, which of course I would encourage you to do, because all of this, our why, comes from how God made you. And to understand your identity more, we need to step in and understand how he created you, and he created you in his image. So the more you understand him, the more you understand yourself. So if you're not, developing intimacy with God, with the Father, with Jesus, with Holy Spirit, I would encourage you to do that. But not that you have to in order to participate in spirit-centered business, because his principles will stand no matter what your belief system is, and he said every knee will bow, and that's not that they're going to be forced to. They're going to want to, because of love. God called us, he loves us because we love him, because he first loved us. Let me say it correctly. And so he calls us to love. And who can say, no, not today, I'm not going to love? You know what I mean? It's a basic principle, and it's not one that you can't violate it and get away with it, maybe for a little minute, but at the end, you're not going to get away with it, But anyway, I don't want to talk about that. But so spirit-centered business is really a place, this show is a place where I want to encourage you. I want to keep going. If you're already in business, encourage you to at least develop a revenue stream, if not an entire business, around your brilliance. Because not only is there a time coming when we're going to have to rely on each other and rely on community and collaboration more, but we're going to have to rely on our own wits and our own smarts and our own talent to bring money, because you can't always rely on a boss or a corporation. And let me tell you, I learned that lesson more than once. I had to go around that mountain, losing my job, being laid off, having a temporary job and it ending. And there's lots of reasons why you lose your job, but if you have your own business, then you're your own boss. Now, here's this downside of that is you have you for an employee. So you can either be a good employee and not have anyone steering the ship, or you can steer the ship and have nobody rowing the boat. So unfortunately, you have to do both. But we teach you to delegate well, to bring on a good team. And I thank Karen Britt. She's been amazing. And Dave Fava for the help that he brings with web design, and Karen's been helping with graphics and getting the word out there, and Muriel, and all of our Kingdom Talks media people. Thank you so much. And I have been praying in new tech people. Oh, I need video editors, I need audio, I need web developers, graphic designers. I've been praying you all in. So come, and you all have to do that in your own business as well. Assemble the right team. And of course, I always, when I put the vibration out into the world and make the declarations, my team is going to be fun to work with. They're going to be creative. They're going to be faithful. They're going to be loyal. They're going to be stable. They're going to be available, actually able to help me. So I want you to think about those things too. So this show is going to be about encouraging you in all of the aspects of business, but I'm also bringing some really, really cool experts to the table. I've had some conversations with some names that you may or may not recognize. And we will be recording the shows and putting them out there. My slot on Kingdom Talks Media on these channels is Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific. So Kingdom Talks will be available Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific. It's just the Wednesday slot is going to be Spirit-Centered Business. I think hopefully I'm pointing in there. I shouldn't even point because it's reversed in the video, and I never know if it's really reversed or if it's just me. Anyway, just a real moment here. All right, you guys. Subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast or watching this video. I really appreciate you getting the message out there for Spirit-Centered Business. And also, if you have ideas for shows or you have questions, I probably will open it up for Q's and A's and on the Facebook group or on the YouTube channel, or, if you email me at activate@BralynnNewby.com, activate@BralynnNewby.com. And for those of you listening to the podcast, Bralynn is Bralynn, Newby is Newby. And go ahead and email me there. Maybe I'll do shows with just Q&As, and maybe I'll bring an expert on. Maybe I'll bring another featured co-host, kind of a guest host kind of a dealio. I don't know. We'll see what God says. I'll go up into the conference room and say, okay, Lord, what do you have for me this week? Oh, speaking of that, I never did finish how you can join the activation group. So if you are really ready, and if you've been doing it already, to step into the spirit realms and really get strategy at the conference table that God has for us. We have our own conference room in the heavens. It's pretty cool. If you're ready to do that, please go to spiritcenteredbusiness.com and click on the members button. Currently, the activation members are there. We are also going to have an academy, which is training. The experts that I bring on the show are going to be giving us gold nuggets of training, and we're going to actually start building business and doing things in there. I'm excited about that. Oh, 2020 is going to be great, you guys. It's really, really the time to open the gateways. I think that the Hebrew letter Pei is the mouth, and it's all about, opening and portals and being portals for good things in the world, bringing good things, bringing heaven to earth. We've been praying that prayer, the Lord's Prayer, on earth as it is in heaven. We've been praying that for 2,000 years. So it's about time we do something about that. What does heaven really look like? How do we really bring it here? Let's do it together. All right, you guys. Let's see. Is there anything else on my notes? We talked about alignment, the three-way alignment, internal, your head and your heart. We talked about vertical alignment, aligning with God and His plan for you, and that you do have a destiny, and He has the spiritual beings and the ability to orchestrate that for you if you're paying attention. And then the horizontal alignment, how the universe really works. How does the spirit realm work? What the impact of our words, for crying out loud, for positive and for negative. How do we work with others? That's part of their universe. That's our horizontal alignment. How do we communicate well? How do we negotiate well? How do we delegate well? How do we resolve conflicts and work with vendors and yada yada. There's so much in business. Everything has to do with working with others in business. So those are the three-way alignments. And then we have access. We talked about that. Accessing the spirit realm for resources and wisdom and angelic help and strategy. And then the impact that your business is supposed to be making, or it can make, if you actually reach the people that you're supposed to reach. And here's another thing that I didn't talk about with that, is that people often come to me and say, well, so and so is saying the same thing I do, or they have a business that does the same thing I want to do. So what is there left for me? So first of all, that's a little bit of scarcity thinking. That's there's only one size pie. And I always say, well, if you want a piece of the pie, let's just enlarge the pie, If the glass is half empty or glass is half full is not the question. Let's just get a bigger glass. Let's figure out how to fill it more. Anyway, so there's that. And then there's also the fact that your experiences, your voice, you have a signature voice print in the spirit realms. Your voice will attract the people that you're supposed to attract. Your experience and your energy will attract the people that have had that same experience or are thinking about that, or, either for themselves or someone they love. And so what you bring to the table can never be exactly like someone else, even if you're saying the same words. You do you. What are you bringing to the table? It's so important to bring you into your business and really build the business around the lifestyle that you want to have, that you are designed to have. I know that I'm supposed to travel, and I know that I'm supposed to influence lives all over. And therefore, I have to build my business so that I can travel, so that I can be mobile. Anywhere there's an internet connection, I can do my business. And I want that for you too. Now, obviously, if you're called to have a brick and mortar, I'm not saying leave your brick and mortar. I'm not saying leave. I'm just saying we have to run in our own lane. And this is my lane. And come on and join me. Even if you're doing the same thing I do, I don't, it's okay, because you will do it in your way. And I will help you. There's some brilliant people who I have a healthy jealousy for, and I mean that in a good way, for their business. They're doing things that are just, to me, like, oh, I so want to be able to do that. And I'm going to bring them and share them with you, because they're like my heroes. They're my mentors. And it's not about competition. It's so not about competition, you guys. I do me in my way, and you do you in your way. So there you have it. All right. I think really I've been trying to land this plane, and it just keeps hovering around the airport. I think it's really time to land. Let me check my notes one more time. Oh my gosh, here's one more thing that I forgot to tell you. I am going to read this one because I had hold on a second. Thank you. I had the Spirit-Centered Business prayer cast. I have 100 episodes of that, and I'm going to just put them back up there. Sometimes if we mention dates, they'll be old, but the principles are still the same. And that is where I came up with a whole brainstorming list of all of the things I wanted to talk about. And so that's what I wanted to share with you. I forgot to mention that. So here are some of the topics that I'm going to bring experts on or going to be teaching on in this show. And it's trust the process. trusting God's timing, expecting expectations, and the difference between expectations and expectancy, divine connections, divine opportunities, meditation, the theory of being chaotic, having orderly chaos in your business, because sometimes God's works that way. I'm just being honest. Hearing from God, really listening, and now we can say seeing as well, because he shows it pictures, and sometimes it's impressions, and we just perceive from God. Renewing your mind, the physiology of influence, focusing on service, and focusing on operating from your gifts, values versus passion, convergence, understanding the money mindset, synchronicity, emotional intelligence. This is one of my big ones. That's also in my book here. Strongholds and belief systems, putting your faith into action by doing the work that it takes to do what you're called to do. Sometimes God gives us a prophetic word or a nudge that says you're going to do this. Well, we can't just lay on the couch eating bonbons expecting it to be dropping in our lap. We have to take steps toward it. Well, what do those steps look like? Well, there's where some training comes in. If you don't know how to do something and God's calling you to do it, well, then it's the same principle. If God calls you to go be a missionary in Japan, do you think you should learn a little Japanese? Maybe at least how to ask for the bathroom? I don't know. I would say yes. All right, so being shrewd as serpents as well as innocent as doves. Breakthroughs, breaking free, breaking off our old stuff that's keeping us down, our personal constraints, which are actually strengths. There are strengths, but there's limits to how those strengths happen, and I won't go into that right now, but it's just one of the topics. There's so many. Boundaries, there's another good one. There's so many different topics and different experts that I'm going to be bringing on. I'm really excited to start this show. So it's going to be Wednesdays on Kingdom Talks. It'll also be on my YouTube channel, Bralynn Newby, and also on Facebook. And we'll go live in the Ecclesia Arising group and also in Spirit Center, on the Spirit Center business page. I think we can do all of that. We will see. We will figure out where it all goes. And then, of course, I'm going to be making the podcasts, and we'll be on Castbox and iTunes and iHeartRadio and Spotify and all of those places where you're already finding Kingdom Talks media. So there you have it. One last time, I'm Bralynn Newby, and I am so blessed and honored to be able to start this new show on this New Year's Day, 2020. And until the next broadcast, stay Spirit